Hasan Sabbah, the truth behind the assassin legend. What if I told you that one of the most feared secret societies in history wasn't born in the shadows of Europe, but in the sun-scorched mountains of Persia? How did a man named Hasan Sabbah, bookworm, exile, and religious rebel, build an empire of assassins so terrifying that kings paid him not to die? Why did warriors willingly embrace death, believing it would return them to a garden of wine, honey, and paradise? And what really happened when the assassins sent a bill to King Louis IX of France, demanding protection money for his life? This isn't just a tale of daggers and fortresses. It's a story of betrayal, buried imams, mountain strongholds, and a man who turned faith into a weapon and strategy into legend. From the siege-proof walls of Alamut to the whispered threats in royal courts, this is the true story behind the myth of the assassins and how their legacy outlived empires. So sharpen your curiosity, because once you enter this world, there's no turning back. In the early 1180s, a chronicler named William wrote with awe and confusion. In the province of Tyre is a certain people who have 10 castles and surrounding lands. We have often heard that there are 60,000 of them or more. Both we and the Saracens call them assassins, but I don't know where the name comes from. Who were these elusive warriors? Why did they strike fear into the hearts of kings and caliphs alike? And what was the truth behind the name assassin? Europe would have to wait until 1298 for a deeper glimpse, when the travels of Marco Polo hit the scene like a literary thunderclap. Marco Polo, the Venetian explorer, described a land called Mulehet, ruled by a mysterious figure known only as the Old Man of the Mountain. This man had built a paradise unlike any other. 3 canals streamed there, one for water, one for honey, one for wine. In the garden lived boys and maidens, the most handsome in the world. But this was no mere pleasure garden. It was a weapon. Only those chosen by the old man were allowed inside. Drugged with opium, they awoke in this paradise, believing they had glimpsed heaven itself. When they awoke again in the real world, they were told that only death as a martyr would return them to that bliss. Thus, the assassins were born, men so devoted, so manipulated, that they would kill without hesitation. Rulers across Asia paid tribute to the old man, fearing the alternative, death. Marco Polo's tale ends with a siege. In 1265, Alau, lord of the Tatars, laid siege to the fortress for 3 years, starving out the assassins. But was Polo telling the truth, or repeating slander whispered by enemies? To find the answer, we must go back to the beginning. Hasan Sabbah was born in 1050 in Qom, Persia, a city revered in Shi'a Islam. His father, Ali bin Muhammad al-Sabbah, was a devout Twelver Shi'a from Yemen. After Hasan's birth, the family moved to Ray, where the boy received a rigorous religious education. But Ray was a melting pot of Shi'a thought. There, Hasan encountered the Ismailis, a sect that believed in a living hereditary imam descended from Ismail, son of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq. 2 missionaries, Amira Zarab and Abu Nasr Sarraj, introduced Hasan to Ismaili doctrine. At 17, he converted and pledged allegiance to the Fatimid Caliph al-Mustansir in Cairo. The Fatimids ruled from Cairo, the most powerful Muslim state of the time, but they were under constant threat from the Seljuk Turks, a Sunni dynasty from Central Asia that had swept through Persia and the Middle East. Hasan, now a missionary, impressed Abd al-Malik ibn Attash, chief Ismaili Dai in the Seljuk realm. He traveled to Isfahan, then to Cairo and Alexandria to deepen his education. But Cairo was a nest of vipers. Hasan clashed with Vizier al-Afdal over succession. The caliph had named his son Nizar as heir. Al-Afdal wanted Mustali, his son-in-law. Hasan backed Nizar. Al-Afdal exiled him. Back in Persia by 1081, Hasan became the leading Dai of the Nizari Ismailis. He traveled across the land, spreading the word and building a resistance. Why revolt against the Seljuks? Religious, the Sunni Seljuks persecuted Shias. Political, Hasan still supported the Fatimids. National, Persians resented foreign Seljuk rule. Hasan's strategy was pure brilliance. He knew the Nizaris were outnumbered. He knew the Seljuks were scattered. So he avoided open war. Instead, he seized mountain fortresses, impregnable strongholds from which he could launch surgical strikes. The assassin creed was forming. By 1087, Hasan focused on Daylum, a Shia stronghold. In September 1090, he seized the fortress of Alamut, the teaching of the eagle, in the Elburz Mountains. He did it without bloodshed, converting the garrison one by one. Alamut became a fortress of faith and science. Hasan improved irrigation, cultivated the valley, and built a vast library of manuscripts and instruments. From Alamut, he expanded. In 1091, he sent Husayn Kini to Kistan. There, a Shia uprising gave the Nizaris control of several towns. In just 2 years, Hasan Sabbah had carved out an independent state, right in the heart of the Seljuk Sultanate. Now pause for a sec. Step into the extraordinary. Subscribe to Eccentric Digital Pixel. Welcome to the wild frontier of creativity, where pixels pulse with imagination, and every frame tells a story you've never seen before. At Eccentric Digital Pixel, we don't follow trends, we bend reality. From surreal digital art to mind-blowing visual experiments, this is your backstage pass to the future of expression. Why hit subscribe? Get exclusive access to jaw-dropping digital creations. Be the first to witness new drops by turning on notifications. Dive into a world of eccentric brilliance that inspires, challenges, and captivates. Join a community of visionaries who crave the unconventional. Don't just scroll, experience the pixel revolution. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to never miss a masterpiece. Because normal is boring, and you were born to see the world differently. The Persian Shia population had a simple opinion of the Seljuk Turks: invaders, oppressors, and unwelcome guests who didn't even bother to wipe their boots at the door of Persia. Sunni sources, however, tell a different tale, one of benevolent overlords extending olive branches and Persian appointments. Take Sultan Malik Shah, for example. He appointed a Persian vizier named Abu Ali Hasan bin Ali bin Ishaq, better known as Nizam al-Mulk, which translates to the order of the country. Sounds noble, right? But here's where the plot thickens. According to legend, Hasan Sabbah and Nizam al-Mulk were once classmates, childhood friends, study buddies, the kind who might have shared dates and debated theology over tea. Then Nizam became vizier and helped his old pal Hasan get a cushy job at court. But soon, jealousy brewed. Nizam allegedly conspired to have Hasan exiled. Hasan, betrayed, vowed revenge. Romantic? Yes. True? Not a chance. Nizam was 32 years older than Hasan. They couldn't have been classmates unless one of them was a time traveler. So forget the bromance, this was pure politics. In 1092, Nizam launched a counterattack against the Nizaris in Alamut and Kuhistan. But Hasan's strategy was pure mountain magic. His garrisons, perched atop near impossible-to-scale fortresses, repelled wave after wave of Seljuk assaults. During the siege, Hasan quietly evacuated his wife and daughters to another Ismaili community. He never brought them back. Thus began a tradition: no women allowed in Alamut, not for misogyny, just for security. Hasan couldn't fight the Seljuks head-on, so he turned to his favorite tactic: targeted assassination. He chose a fidai, a faithful one, named Bu Tahir Irani. Disguised as a wandering Sufi mystic, Bu Tahir approached Nizam's litter. Then, swift as a whisper, his dagger found its mark. Nizam al-Mulk died instantly. Bu Tahir was immediately cut down by bodyguards, but he had done his duty. The Fidais knew their missions were suicidal. They accepted death with serenity, believing martyrdom would return them to paradise. This was the first high-profile kill by the Nizari assassins. Hasan and his successors ordered 75 tactical assassinations, always high-profile, never civilian. The Seljuks responded with massacres. Hasan responded with more surgical strikes. The Sunni world hated the Fidais. They called them radical extremists, proto-terrorists, and oddly, drug addicts. This is when the term hashishin emerged. Enemies claimed the assassins used hashish to fuel their missions. Marco Polo and William of Tyre picked up the slur and ran with it. Modern historians agree, the assassins weren't high. They were just highly effective. But the name stuck. Shortly after Nizam's death, Sultan Malik Shah also died. Natural causes? Poison? Who knows? What followed was chaos, a civil war between Malik's sons Berk-Yaruk and Sanjar, with their half-brother Muhammad Tapar stirring the pot. Independent warlords popped up like weeds. Hasan seized the moment. He expanded his network of fortresses, Damgan to the east, Khuzestan to the south. His reach stretched over 1,000 kilometers. Hasan Sabbah became a legend, not just for his strategy but for his austerity. He executed both his sons, Muhammad for drinking wine, Ustad for allegedly murdering a loyal lieutenant. Hasan turned inward. He never left Alamut again, but his influence spread outward. In the early 1100s, he sent missionaries, dais, into Syria. There, the Nizaris resumed their mountain fortress strategy. The most famous? Masyaf. Masyaf was later commanded by Rashid ad-Din Sinan, the man who truly earned the title Old Man of the Mountain. He tried multiple times to assassinate Saladin, the famed Muslim general. It was Rashid, not Hassan, who built the mythic image of the assassins. And it was the Syrian Nizaris who first made contact with the Knights Templar. Let's take a detour. A certain media franchise, you know the one, paints the assassins and Templars as eternal enemies. But history? It's messier. Both were elite warrior orders. Both were religiously driven. Both were slandered as heretics. In reality, the assassins and Templars had tense but transactional relations. They fought occasionally, but mostly avoided stepping on each other's toes. In 1152, the assassins killed Count Raymond of Tripoli, a rare Christian target. The Templars demanded 2,000 byzants a year in compensation. Sounds less like holy war, more like mob protection money. You know you've made it as a feared organization when you start charging royalty for not killing them. While visiting Acre, modern-day Israel, King Louis IX of France received a polite but ominous message from the Syrian assassins. Pay up, or the Old Man of the Mountain might get creative with your fate. It was the medieval version of a protection racket. Luckily, Grandmaster Joinville of the Templars stepped in, sent the envoy packing, and brokered a non-aggression pact between the king and the assassins. No byzants exchanged, no daggers drawn, just a handshake and a sigh of relief. In 1097, tragedy struck the heart of the Nizari faith. Their spiritual leader, Imam Nizar, was murdered in Cairo, buried alive between two walls by his rival, Vizier al-Afdal. When the news reached Hasan Sabbah, he didn't mourn. He mobilized. He orchestrated the rescue of Nizar's young son, smuggling him out of Cairo and into the safety of Alamut. From that moment on, Hasan wasn't just the political and military leader of the Nizaris. He became their religious leader, too. In the late 1090s, Hasan launched an offensive near the Seljuk capital of Isfahan. His target? The fortress of Shadiz. His agent? Ahmad bin Atash, son of Hasan's first Ismaili teacher. But Ahmad didn't use a dagger. He used doctrine. One by one, he converted the children of the garrison, then the soldiers. By 1100, Shadiz was in Nizari hands. The road to Isfahan was open, but victory was elusive. The warring Seljuk brothers, Berkyaruk, Sanjar, and Muhammad Tapar, paused their family feud to unite against Hasan. They retook Isfahan. The Nizaris retaliated with assassinations. The Seljuks responded with massacres. In 1105, Tapar became sultan. 4 years later, he launched a second siege of Alamut, led by Ahmad al-Mulk, son of the assassinated Nizam al-Mulk. But Alamut held firm. Again, by 1118, when Tapar died, the war had reached a stalemate. The Nizaris controlled scattered territories, forming a de facto independent state. But conquering Persia? Out of reach. Hasan Sabbah withdrew further into Alamut. He spent his days reading, writing, and administering his realm from within his quarters. In 1124, sensing the end, he summoned Kia Buzurg Umid, a trusted lieutenant, and named him successor. On June 12, 1124, Hasan Sabbah died. He was buried near Alamut, the fortress that had become his legend. For a century after Hasan's death, the Nizari assassins continued their campaign of precision strikes against Seljuk and other enemies. Pilgrims visited Hasan's mausoleum. His name became myth. But in 1256, a new storm swept across Persia, the Mongols. They laid siege to Alamut. The proud fortress, the teaching of the eagle, finally fell. It was demolished, burned, erased. The assassins survived in Syria, but their legend, born in the mountains of Persia, had come to an end. Before you go, if you've enjoyed this tale of betrayal, daggers, and mountain fortresses, don't forget to follow us. Subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell so you never miss another story where history gets personal, political, and downright epic. More legends await. Let's uncover them together.